In this video, I'm going to show a way to annotate the outside diameter of a conduit, but only if it's plastic and not concrete. So in this simple example data I've got here, I've got two stormwater conduits. The top one is PVC, and the material there PVC, and the bottom one uses a material of concrete. So what I want to do is annotate the outside diameter on the PVC pipe but not the concrete pipe. So from the Subsurface Utilities workflow on the Tools ribbon, I'm going to click User Data Extensions. Now I need to select the data type that I want to work with. In this case, I'm going to use the hydraulic analysis data type because I've just got stormwater pipes. But if I wanted to set up this user data extension for water, gas, electric, other utility types, I would select the Subsurface Utilities data type. So click OK. Now I want to set up a new user data extension for a conduit. So I'll right click on Conduit, click Add Field, and type the name for my new user data extension. We'll call it outer diameter, outside diameter. Now by default this field is just going to be a piece of text, which is fine because I can just type in the outside diameter that I want to use. So we'll click OK. If I now go to the Utilities View ribbon and click on Flex Tables, now remember I created that user data extension using the hydraulic analysis data type, so I need to pick that in my Flex Tables dialog. I'm going to double click Conduit Table to open that. So just scrolling across looking at the columns available here, I need to add two columns. So I'm going to click the edit icon. And I first want to add the column for the material. So I just press the letter M on my keyboard to scroll down to material, click add to add that into the list of selected columns on the right hand side. And then I want to scroll down again and find my user data extension column and add that in as well. Click OK. And then if I scroll across to the right hand side, we can see those two added columns. So I can now click in this field and I can type a value piece of text that I can use for that outside diameter annotation. Now if I had a lot of conduits, rather than edit the outside diameter field one by one, what I might want to do is filter down the list of conduits that are shown in the flex table. So I could, for example, right click on that material column heading and click Filter, Custom. Because I clicked on the material column heading, it's selected in the fields in the query builder. So if I double click on that to add it into the bottom of the dialog here, I can then click equals and click unique values, and PVC is shown here. So if I double click that, we've now built a query that says physical material equals PVC. So if I OK that query, it's applied, and the two conduits that we're using a material of concrete have been removed. So I'm now just seeing the conduits with a material of PVC. So I could then do a global edit on the outside diameter user data extension, and I could type in a different value, and that will be applied to all of the fields, all of the conduits that satisfy that filter. In this case there's only one, but hopefully you get the idea. So we've set up that outside diameter user data extension only for the conduits that use the plastic material. If I want to clear the filter again, I can just right click, go Filter, Reset, confirm the message, and that's the filter cleared. So I can close the Flex Tables dialog. So I now need to annotate the design file with that information, element symbology. So again, this is data that we've stored in the hydraulic analysis data type. So I'm going to select that. So We have a range of styles of annotation that come with the software. You can add your own as well. I'm just going to use this default symbology style. And under Conduit, at the moment we're annotating label and ID. I'm going to turn off ID, and I'm going to right click on Conduit and say I want a new annotation. What do I want to annotate? I want to annotate the user data extension, which we called outside diameter. So I can pick that from the list, click apply, and click OK. So that's now added to the list and it's checked on there, outside diameter, but we don't see anything in the graphics yet, and that's because we haven't turned on the element symbology display. So we go to View Attributes, Use Analytic Symbology, and we want to choose the hydraulic analysis with the default symbology definition. Now we can see the annotation appearing. Now this annotation is drawing scale aware, so normally the annotation looks best when you use a full-size 1:1 drawing scale. So if your annotation looks huge, for example, it's probably because this scale is set to a different number. So if I set that to 1:500, for example, we can just see the edge of a very large annotation there. So I'll go back to 1:1. So let's go back to our element symbology, hydraulic analysis tab. So here's the fields of data that we're annotating at the moment for our conduits. You can see that we're also annotating the manhole names. Now I can just turn that off there to reduce the annotation that we're seeing. Also, I could go and double click on our field and I could move some annotation around. So for example, I might want to change the X offset just to center that annotation a bit more, something like that. I could do the same for the label field and apply that just to move the annotation around a bit. Now, if I don't want 2 lines of annotation, there's another way that I can annotate the conduits, and that's using freeform annotation. So if I turn off the label and the outside diameter, I'm going to right click again on conduit and say new annotation. And we have this freeform annotation option. So a moment ago I picked from the predefined annotations, I picked our user data extension, but instead of that I'm now going to do a freeform annotation. So if I click on the browse icon there, so I can append whatever annotation I want in free format. So I could go to general and label, and then maybe put in a space and then go back again. And I'm just going to move the dialog up, go back again and say user defined outside diameter. If we click OK on that, I'll just change that X offset, click apply, click OK. There's the new freeform annotation added there. And just scrolling the wheel to update the graphics, we can see that we've got 2 pieces of annotation on one line, the label of the conduit and our user data extension for the outside diameter.